I've played 2 rounds of the Motor Caddy.
Yeah.
I'm under par.
What happened in the
both
second
rounds.
round when you played the Motor Caddy?
I beat you 6 and 5.
Yeah, you did beat me 6 and 5. Beat me 6 and 5. I played rubbish. But I felt refreshed. I felt energised during the round of golf. Dear Rick, where people can write in a nice email or a nasty email, whatever they fancy.
And it's powered by our really good friends at Motor Caddy. By the way, how good did I play? Use my Motor Caddy?
I think that's what it was. It wasn't the lesson with Dan, which was all right. It wasn't the belly rubbing. It wasn't the fact you know the course. It was the Motor Caddy.
I've played 2 rounds of the Motor Caddy.
Yeah.
I'm under par.
What happened in the
both
second
rounds.
round when you played the Motor Caddy?
I beat you 6 and 5.
Yeah, you did beat me 6 and 5. Beat me 6 and 5. I played rubbish. But I felt refreshed. I felt energised during the round of golf.
I like how Guy's just taking a hit there, just so we can get the Motor Caddy ad readed. That's respect that to the co-host and producer there. So I said, yeah, that's class.
So everyone that writes into that, Dear Rick, would do it for over 10 weeks, and each one, at the end of the 10 weeks, gets put into a hat. The name will get drawn out, and one lucky winner is going to win a Motor Caddy, and then second place is going to win a Motor Caddy bag. So it's very much worth sending your email in for the chance to get it read out and also win that trolley or bag. If you want to do so, it's podcast@rickshiels.com. This week's Dan, I've handpicked because I think I want your input. So it is Dear Rick, but it's Dear Dan, which weirdly has a better ring to it than Dear Rick.
Dear Dan.
Maybe going forward, it could just be Dear Dan. We'll actually get Dan in just for this section each week. Anyway, it says Dear Rick and Guy, brackets.
And
Dan. First off, I want to say thank you to you both for your great content. What can I say? After having an on-off-again relationship with golf since I was 15, brackets, I'll be turning 35 in a couple of weeks, so 20 years. Quick maths. I have recently started playing more consistently since becoming across your Facebook and YouTube channels, etc. a few months ago, and I am now in the process of working towards getting an official handicap, and I want to start entering a few comps at my local course. So we hear that a lot, don't we? Nothing out and toward there. But my question is this. I have a few $100s to spend to improve my swing and my game, but between online training programs, training aids, lessons, or going to a PGA Pro or new clubs, etc., I'm at a loss of what could be the best course of action. I feel like every aspect of my game could use improvement. So what would your advice on getting the biggest benefit be out of all those above? That's from Jeffrey.
I'm going to just cancel a few out before passing it over to you. I wouldn't spend a couple of £100 on training aids if you don't know what you're trying to fix, personally. And possibly, again, it sounds like you're in a good spot where you don't particularly need to spend loads of money on clubs, and a couple of £100 maybe not going to make a massive difference to your golf clubs.
Okay.
And it sounds, either way, I think going into lessons or a development plan is kind of more beneficial, but I kind of hand that over to you, Dan.
I'd do a bit of research in the area where you are and try and find the coach who's got the best reputation, and then do a bit of digging about on what they can do.
How do you find the coach that's got the best reputation?
First of all, it sounds a bit of a cliche, but often where a lot of the good players go, a lot of other good players tend to go. So there must be something that's happening at that place, or somewhere where you've seen friends of yours going and they've been improving a lot. So it's one of those two things. So it's either a recommendation, and often, your club pro, not being a disservice to the guys who, are club pro, they've got so many other things that they're doing that they are going to slightly water down what they're able to deliver from a golf lesson. And I think you want to make sure that the person who you are seeing is pretty good on being able to figure out what's going to suit you as an individual, because I think that's massive. I've seen that change a lot in the last sort of 12 months, maybe 18 months, but it's all very much about it's just a case study of one person in front of you. How do they move? What do they do? And try and find a coach who can help you as an individual get the best you can.
So best reputation and somebody who can work with you.
Yep.
Would you, I think I would look at social media as well as a kind of a way of not asking on social media. I think that a lot of people make that mistake of putting the golf swing on Facebook and saying, what have I done wrong? But asking, having to do a bit of research, let's say there is 3 or 4 golf pros in the area, check out the social media, see what they're putting out there. We're going to come on to this in a minute, but you were doing YouTube before I was doing YouTube.
Yeah.
And actually seeing, is there any content out there, or even just tweets or Facebooks or whatever? Do you feel like you'd have a bit of rapport with said coach and who can actually develop you and bring you on?
Well, I've asked that feels too easy, doesn't it, so far? So there's a reason why I've asked you this question, because obviously you two, both certainly down at the coaching a lot and PJ coaches, that was the answer you were going to give, which I expected. And I agree with, actually. But the reason I've asked that is because I often see these comments online where people almost, it seems to be a thing of like, go and get lessons, which obviously makes sense. But I think, and I might be wrong in saying this, there's a bit of people think that just by having lessons you're going to improve. Now, there has to be a lot more to it than that. An analogy I'll use, rightly or wrongly, would be if you were overweight and you wanted to get fitter, well, go and see a personal trainer. But going and seeing a personal trainer once and then never going to the gym again is going to make no difference whatsoever. So you've got to carry on either seeing that trainer every time he goes to the gym or at least working out a couple of times a week and change what you eat. Just by, as good as you two are at coaching, I'm looking more at Dan here, but just because because he's obviously coaching still, but just by going to see you once may possibly obviously improve your golf massively because you might change something fundamentally that just goes boom and it works. But there's going to be a lot of graft, a lot of grind, which you obviously, with your clients, are lucky because they do that. But what else does somebody have to do? They don't just go and see a coach once, do they? What do they have to do to actually improve?
I think that, well, I wish, probably the right starting word is, I wish there were people out there who, when they saw the person who comes in for a lesson, is almost manages where that person's expectation level off the bat. And like you said, going to the gym, that's almost a bit of an analogy I sometimes use as saying, if you decided you want to start on a weight loss program, just because you've eaten well for one day, expecting to be a different weight tomorrow. No, it's the decisions that you make today, what you put in your body, how you do, how often you go to the gym, what you're going to do, are going to turn you into the person you want to be in 3 months. So the golf journey might take you 2 months, might take you 3 months, might take you 6. It all depends on how quick and pliable you are as a student to keep getting better. But it's more about, are you happy to put those efforts in to get where you say you want to get to as your goal? So you've got a goal here. You tell me what you want to achieve. I can tell you how long it's going to take you to get there. Tell you what it's going to require to get there. If you're not happy to do that, we'll need to reassess your goal and then change the landscape relative to you.
And is it common? I think it is. But is it common for certainly higher handicappers who've got habits ingrained over years to actually get worse for a little bit before they then do get better? So if you change your grip from a very kind of strong grip to what feels like a really weak grip, surely you're not going to play great golf the first time you play.
I always found this cliche when I was coaching, even students coming in, and they'd always have this impression, I know I'm going to get worse before I get better. But I actually really disagreed with it.
I do as
Does
well.
that not happen very often then? People
It depends on what you're changing. So as a golf coach, me and I'm sure I can talk for Dan, it's like a puzzle. And at the moment, you can see how you're going to create the picture, but you're not going to just dive in straight into the most crucial part of that puzzle, say hence a player's grip. Yeah. Because that player's grip, he might have had for 20 years playing as this guy has. It's like that's a very sensitive things to change. So we're going to change something. I might tell the student that, right, here's 3 or 4 things I feel like you need to work on. Grip being one of them, this, that. But at the moment, we're not going to work on grip because your grip's really strong and it's actually helping you currently right now. We need to change something else before we change the grip. So I think it's just being very, very sensitive, certainly around grip issues, because when you do change your grip, it feels awful for a player. They often do hit it worse, much, much worse after. But when you change your grip, you have to marry those kind of almost 2 wrongs making a right often at the time. Like you call it matchups, don't you?
Yeah.
Like you have these matchups in the golf swing, and if you change one matchup and don't change the other, it can be disastrous.
Yeah, you got to change 2 things all the time.
You got to change 2 things. So it's understanding what those 2 changes are, really.
Makes sense.
So yeah, I would totally disagree with that that comment that you get worse before you get better. I don't believe in that.
I completely agree with you there, mate. But I've got it from the other side as well, in that, if you go back 10 years ago, there was like a golf grip pretty much that you taught. This is the way you should do it. You go back to all the books. They all had a way to grip it, and it was all really, really similar. Whereas actually now, it takes about 10 minutes to start the lesson where I just run through a load of tests. And it's really, really quick. While having a coffee, just run through it all. And I can tell when I've done those tests what the grip is that's going to be right for them based off what their shoulder rotation is going to be, while their arm flexion is going to move, and you can tell straight away what the grip's going to be like. And if the grip is really strong and that's how they're predisposed to move, well, I know that there's going to be certain swing characteristics that have got to fit with that. Now then, at that point, if they've got something in there that is a complete mismatch because they want to take it back, just as an example, keeping the club head looking at the ball for longer and outside the hands, whereas actually if they've got it really strong, it's going to work inside a little bit more. Well, that's such a bad fit that then if I say, right, let the club work inside a bit more. Oh, well, I actually did better when I did that. Yeah, but it's not like an Instagram swing that you will have watched, or don't look like Adam Scott, but it's great for you. And then at that point, what's the next bit that fits with that? Well, at the top of the backswing, let's say that they don't make a perfect hip turn, they move off it a little bit. Well, okay, we need to get you loading a bit more into that right side. Bang, all of a sudden, they could quite quickly turn from it in a cut to a draw because it fits in with their grip based off the fact that you're matching things together.
I often think, probably wrongly, that a lot of elite golf coaches, which obviously you are, would look down on golf YouTube videos because they're so kind of one size fits all and stuff like that. But obviously you, as Rick alluded to earlier on, have been making golf YouTube videos longer than Rick even has. So obviously you do them or have done them and whatever. So what's your thoughts on them then as well?
I think they're really good. I'm going to be doing more again this year. For one reason or another, I didn't do as many last year. But I think that they're really good. But I think that from the student standpoint, unless they know what their fault is, they could be trying so many things that are not applicable to them, and they might get super lucky and just stumble on something. But it's not the YouTube's community's fault that the information's put together in that way. It's just that, it's just how it is. It'd be only the same as looking at a golf magazine, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That month's tip, well, you go and try it.
I always summarise it as the coaching online, certainly that I try and deliver on Facebook, on YouTube, is almost more like paracetamol or ibuprofen. They're like little quick fixes. They're going to get you through it and give you a bit of advice and hopefully help you play better. But it's not like massive keyhole surgery, which is where you need to go and see a proper, in-person golf professional to get those major changes. And I think that's the problem. The slight problem now with YouTube is there's so much medicine available and there's no pharmacy at the start of it to go, okay, this is what you need, because all the information is there, and I watch loads of coaching videos and they're all amazing. But like I say, as a golfer coming into it, and it's like, oh my God, it's like a sweet shop, just give me all those bloody drugs and I'll take it all. But actually, like I say, you end up overdosing a little bit. Got quite deep, but...
you die. There is a place for both, though, because obviously, again, you two will know this and advocate this. There's nothing better than going for a one-on-one golf lesson with a proper golf coach. But so many people might live somewhere in America or whatever, there's no golf coaches around, or they can't afford lessons or whatever it might be, or they might have no confidence to go and see somebody for whatever reason that might be.
Big time.
So there's definitely a place for both. It just interested me that I, probably wrongly, feel like elite golf coaches often would look down. Do you feel like that, Rick, or not?
I do, I've experienced it. I've experienced, not down so much, but I've had... There used to be an old Facebook group that I was part of, and it was like a golf pros only Facebook group, right? And I was in there as well. So it's one of those groups where you you get accepted by the admin or whatever. This is donkeys years ago on Facebook. And I remember some of my videos showing up on there, and or other YouTubers' videos showing up on there. And suddenly underneath, you get all these kind of proper golf professionals, elite professionals, just ripping everything into it. I can't believe you're saying that to all these people. It's like, I know, but again, what you've got to understand, it's very generic information. It's not wrong information, it's just generic, and that's what they were kind of getting at. And that's not going to suit every golfer. I get that.
Well, the best golf coaching videos that you do, but we think about, is the ones where it's like 5 things that good golfers do, whatever. Because obviously, fixing a slice, as good as they are, there can be different reasons why you slice it. You obviously know that much better than I do. But so many kind of newer golfers, little simple things like watching, if you've got your putts near your opponent's putt or whatever, and they hit first, get a little look at the line. To us, that sounds like second nature, but to a new golfer, they might not even think to do that, where they could learn so much valuable information by watching how that putt breaks and the pace, etc. Little things like that, for me, what I think add real value to people.
Like practice drills or little tips. That's kind of, like I say, it's not keyhole surgery online coaching. It can be quite kind of tailored, it's more generic, shall I say. That's interesting. I hope that answered his question.
But I also would say, the guys who are out there calling it, it's pretty simple for them, isn't it? If it's not that good, you get a camera and you go and make it.
Yeah, you get that as well. To be honest, I'd left that group soon after and never heard of them again.
Speaking of kind of